right, welcome back to Business Over Brew. Nick Dar here with you. Pleased to be joined in this episode by local entrepreneur, we'll say Chuck Sanderson from Waltco Tools, and now with Tom at Pinball. Chuck, thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So you've been a business owner in the area for a long time. Just kind of walk us through the journey.
Yeah, so I own Waltco Tools and Equipment in beautiful Woodruff, Illinois. Been there 30 years, and this October 1st will be our 30 years. Area's been super good to us. We actually, we're going to open our business in Collinsville. 30 years ago, we drove next to the racetrack, and there was a building for rent for $3,000 for 3,200 square foot. So we decided that would be our spot to move. So went down to Fast Eddie's. We'd never been there before. We're both from North County, my partner and I.
Okay.
So we'd never been to Fast Eddie's. So we went to Fast Eddie's and had something to eat and something to drink, and somehow headed back to Florissant. We drove the wrong way on Broadway. Well, guess what? You make a left on Broadway, it takes you through East Alton and then Wood River, and we were kind of confused. There was a lot of business and there was a lot of housing, and we thought it was just Mad Maxville. We thought it was just a refinery over here.
Right.
And we had to relieve ourselves, so we stopped at the darkest spot we could find, and while we were doing that, we saw our location. It was 3,200 square foot for $800 a month.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Much you saw a lower price.
Yeah, a lot lower price.
Right.
We called the people that owned it, and they said it was already rented, and I said, well, I'll give you $1,200 a month. I'll sign a 2-year lease, and I'll pay you a year up front. And she goes, when could you come down? So really, we knew nothing about the area. We knew the refinery was there, but we didn't think there was any chance for us to sell tools to it. Well, we just sold wrenches, floor jacks, stuff to the homeowner.
Right. What business had you been in prior to that, and what kind of spawned the idea of we want to open up a tool business?
Well, actually, I'd worked at a tool store. My partner's father owned a tool store in St. Charles, Missouri called Ward's Tool.
Okay.
I've been there for about 10 years. So while I went to college, I worked at that store. I'm part-time. I've been a jack of all trades. What really got me focused on the retail was I worked at Kmart and found that dusty blue light special in the back.
Sure, right.
Dragged it out and had an intercom system. And they had used this thing for years. Well, they'd be head of the paint department. Well, Kmart and I had about 1,000 gallons of pre-mixed paint. It was just sitting back there, and you're not allowed to throw it away.
Right.
Or it started running blue light specials. Gallon of paint for $1.
Yeah.
So they moved me over to automotive, and we sold more beanbag ashtrays and 3-piece car mat sets. It was just all in return. So I just kind of got my straight there.
Right.
Went over to the tool store. My friend worked and helped him get his store straight. And things didn't work out so well there. I think a divorce issue.
Right.
So we were kind of forced to leave, but we thought we'd open up our own business. And started that Walco with $30,000.
Wow.
And we do well. You know, about $3.5 to $4 million a year, depending.
Crazy how an accident going the wrong way led you to that spot.
Just getting up every day and working hard.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is.
Right. Yeah.
It's not rocket science. I mean, I was a 27-year-old man 30 years ago, full of spunk, working 10 hours a day, 6 days a week.
Right.
Making $50 a week. Thank goodness I married a gal that had a little bit of money.
Right.
So I played rock bands on the weekends to make $75 a night, worked the flea market on Sunday, selling my wares, rent sets, jack stands, what have you.
Yeah.
Within 2 years, we moved from our location now to our current location, which is about 8,000 square foot. 2 years later, we built a 10,000 square foot warehouse. And we've been growing ever since. It's been awesome for us.
Where did the name come from? Is there a story behind that?
Well, the old store we worked at was Ward's Tool. Everyone that called wanted to speak to Ward.
Uh-huh.
And it was just a hassle going to get Ward. And most of the questions Ward didn't need to answer.
Right.
So we made sure that we were going to call it Paul's Tools or Chuck's Tools. So we're going to use our middle name. So Paulco didn't sound good. Chucko certainly doesn't sound good.
Right.
Chuck sounds more like a breakfast.
Sounds like you're going to get rid of something.
Yeah, Chucko's breakfast cereal. So his middle name was Wardco, and then Waltco.
Okay. Yeah.
So Waltco it rolled off the tongue. It's like picking out a man name.
Right.
Try to find something somebody doesn't have.
Yeah, and it doesn't always. Sometimes it makes a difference, and sometimes
it probably would. It was a terrible name. What's even more ironic is that we started selling woodworking equipment really heavily, and what would have made a better name than Wood River Tools?
Sure, I guess. Right.
So, but, that fad came and went. Guys just don't work with their hands that much anymore.
Right.
The equipment's very expensive now.
Yeah.
And a lot of the old guys that were doing it passed on, and now you can pick up that equipment, estate sales, and so on and so forth. So,
right. So aside from that, what are some of the bigger changes and evolutions you've seen in 30 years of the business?
It's all about location.
Mm.
I mean, I have 8 companies within 10 miles of me.
Okay.
I mean, I'll just tell you, we got Lowe's, we got Home Depot,
Right.
we got Farm and Home, you got Tractor Supply, you got a Harbor Freight, you probably got a Northern Tool, you probably got True Value and Ace Hardware.
Right.
We're all pretty much selling the same stuff. Who's the closest to you?
Mm-hmm.
So now we do carry some specialty stuff, but we can drive business in from other areas because of your specialty and riches.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we're really basically all doing the same thing. Customers like us. Let's hope.
Right. Probably over 30 years too, a ton, I would imagine, of repeat businesses that guys and gals that you see all the time and have been seeing for a long time.
Yeah, it is like that. But I mean, people change jobs. Businesses don't always remain. People sell out. There's a lot of consolidation in the tool area.
Mm-hmm.
Bosch Power Tool owns 5 companies. DeWalt owns 10 companies. Milwaukee owns 15 companies. So you used to have to buy from 15 different people. Now you buy from one. And the same thing's happening in the areas of construction. And, smaller guys are getting bought out by bigger guys.
Right.
And this area isn't like on fire. People aren't building a lot of homes over here.
Mm-hmm.
Go to St. Charles area or go further out, Forest Hill, and make home building is big there.
Right. I don't know that, do you think customer loyalty is what it used to be, or I feel like it's gone down. I mean, it's not as important. Like,
yeah. Well, when you get everything within one day from Amazon.
Sure, right, yeah.
And the problem with Amazon and some of the mail order catalogs is you buy it, and then you get it, and then you have remorse. This isn't really what I wanted. It isn't. And you got to go to the house over returning it. And if walk goes right down the street, it's 5 minutes. You can come in, you can look at it, you can touch it, you can feel it. All the margins have come way down on that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the areas that we've tried to get bigger in is closeouts. We buy distressed merchandise. So Bosch will sell Lowe's 1,000 of one tool.
Right.
And after a year and a half, they've sold 9,000.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have 1,000 left. Well, they're done with it.
Right.
So they say, hey, Bosch, sell us 10,000 of something else to take these 1,000 back.
Mm-hmm.
They're brand new.
Right.
They may have a sticker on them, a sales sticker.
Sure.
The box has been peeled open because somebody wanted to look at it.
Right.
But we'll get that item at a discount in a plain brown box. They have less than a warranty on it, but we get a much better deal on it. We're able to sell it to you as a quote-unquote recondition.
Mm. Even though it's not been used or
never been touched.
Right.
I mean, 20 years ago, when we made stuff in America, they would send it back to the factory and pay another American to recondition it.
Mm-hmm.
When you open the box, you could see it had dirt or dust on it. Now the stuff's all made in China. I mean,
right.
A 4.5-inch hand grinder probably costs less than $8 to $10 to make.
Right.
Add on another $5 just for all the marketing and salaries. So that they cost $15.
Right.
If I buy 100 of them, my cost is $72, and I'm selling them for $79.99. There's just very little margin in the stuff. You can sell a lot of quantity.
Right.
And a lot of people making money are the big guys. Guess what? I mean, that's just the way the world works.
Sure.
The rich are always getting richer.
Right. Yeah. What take us back to maybe the first 5 years of the business, and are there some specific struggles that really stand out that you remember? It's like, boy, here's a point, because that 5-year mark is where a lot of small businesses don't make it.
Yes.
How were you able to survive those first 5 years, which are typically very challenging?
Low pay.
Yeah, not make $50 a week, I guess, was one way.
Yeah. I mean, I see business owners open businesses, start selling pizzas, and within 3 months, they're both driving Corvettes, and they're out of business.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
2, buy your building. If you're going to be in it, be in it.
Right.
Don't rent. I saw this happen to the other business I was with. He wanted to buy a building. His wife said, no. I saw them. They were in business for 20 years. They had that property paid off, and we left the company. They were still paying rent.
Right. Yeah.
That would have been paid off. 2,
sure.
Debt. Used debt. But that is incredible. Every $100,000 worth of debt will make you about $30,000 for the profit. If you're paying, well, back then you were paying 4, 5, 6%. So if $100,000 costs you $6,000 a year, and you can make $30,000 of a profit off it, well, you're about $24,000. Well, I had no credit when I started. I had a Styx, Bale, and Fuller credit card. But I bought 2 pairs of jeans off, and it was actually delinquent paying on. I had never had a car loan. It was almost impossible for me to get any loans.
Right. Yeah.
The building that we're currently in had been 14 other businesses in the last 20 years before that. They couldn't get anybody to pay off on the building. So
right.
I don't want to say the name of the bank. I think it was Regions. They actually offered us the building at $160,000 just to get somebody in. I never thought we could afford it.
Right.
But they gave us a loan.
Yeah.
And once you got the loan for the building, you can build up and get a little more loans. So if you can sell some product, don't have it, you have to have it, especially in today's business. If you don't have it today, you ain't got to sell it.
Right.
But go someplace else and get it.
People are not, you're absolutely right.
If you don't have it today, they're just going to go someplace else.
Right.
Unless they're a very, very loyal customer, or it's just such an odd item that they can't get.
Right. But most things, like you said, you can get pretty quickly nowadays.
And then 3, just be nice to your customers. I mean, guess what? We're busy all day.
Right.
You got 2 guys running the business. Somebody comes in for a nut and bolt that's 22 cents. I still struggle with it. I mean, I have employees that are supposed to do this for me, but I got to walk back to the store, get the nut, get the bolt, bring them out. It's 57 cents. They pull a credit card out. They don't have any money.
Right. Yeah.
It's just like, how long is this going to go on?
Sure.
But, you got to be good to your customers. Believe me, they can go any place they want.
Right.
And we do joke around a little bit too much at our store. We've been there for 30 years. We know a lot of guys.
Right. Yeah.
So maybe in an all-guy store, it's a little more freewheeling when we give people, some griff.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I think guys appreciate that when they come in, probably. It's something maybe that you don't get other places.
No, exactly. Hell, it's kind of like going to one of those food restaurants where they're just meeting you the entire time.
On purpose. Like,
Yeah.
Well, sometimes it's not on purpose. And those aren't as good for some reason.
Yeah. I mean, debt was our biggest problem for the first 5 years.
Yeah.
Because we didn't take loans out. We just bought more merchandise from factories.
Right.
And then used their money.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd buy $10,000 from Bosch. And then we'd buy $20,000 from Ikea. And we'd pay off the bill to the Mayhew Punch Company.
Right.
And then that bill would get outstretched 30, 40, 50 days, and your vendors start to get mad.
Sure.
And then before you know it, you're on a COD with them, and you're not getting the deals.
Right.
So, just borrow the money. I mean, even at today's rate of 10%, if you can't make 40, 50% margins on what you're selling, you're probably not in the right.
Right.
Because, I mean, you have to get 27 to 30% by it's all said and done.
Do you feel like there was a turning point in the last 30 years, or maybe it was not a one moment that you point to, but just something that slowly started to turn towards like, hey, I think we're going to make it here? Or are you there yet?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we made it.
Sure. I mean, 30 years is a long, successful run.
Yeah, 30 years is a long time.
Yeah.
We've changed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those first couple of years, we were just the cheap Chinese wrench set for $39.99 you hadn't seen yet, a floor jack for $69.99 you hadn't seen yet.
Right.
We're no Harbor Freights, we're no Northern Tools.
Sure.
I don't think Lowe's or Home Depot was in business yet, or I think Home Quarters was the only thing in business at that time. And then that stuff started to get flooded in, so then we moved to woodworking tools.
Mm-hmm.
So we started selling a lot of woodworking tools. And then that started to fizzle out, and then we kind of went to more of a high-end mechanical tool because we started getting more business from a refinery.
Mm-hmm.
Keep in mind, the refinery buys zero funds.
Right.
But the people that maintained it, inspect it, those are the people that actually buy from us. And I didn't realize how important the refinery was till I started to meet those people.
Right.
And then we got big in the power tool business.
Mm-hmm.
Power tools really took off. Cordless got real big. Everybody loves cordless stuff. So I'd say the last 10 years, we've been really big at cordless. Well, now everybody has it. I mean, it's so bad, you can even go to Aldi's. They have pressure washers and cordless in the middle aisle. Some Bros out they've got from China.
Yeah.
So COVID hit.
Sure.
And that was a big change for us. So,
Yeah, well, I don't remember what the regulations were for you, if you were considered essential. Or...
Yeah, luckily the city came to us and said we were an essential business.
Mm-hmm.
All right, why, I don't know, but I was. Well, I think
Sorry, all of yours personally.
Yeah, this is important.
Sure.
We had dust masks. We had some PPE stuff. We had risers.
Yeah.
I mean, we were out of that stuff instantly within 2 weeks. But I got so much merchandise that we had built up over the last 20 years that we were able to sell off all this junk laying around.
And that's right. Yeah.
Really good for us. But
And I think, I mean, here anyway, a lot of people did home improvement projects during COVID and, sat around at home and saw things that were...
Well, it's funny because we buy closeouts.
Mm-hmm.
So every True Value store in the nation had to buy new displays about every 3 years. New fan displays, new light display, new plumbing display. That was from the corporate. And in order to do that, it was $10,000, where every True Value store said, well, look, we don't have the money to do it. And True Value goes, well, we understand. Just send us back 10 grand worth of stuff in the tool category that's not selling. So they would send back 10 grand worth of stuff that wasn't selling.
Right.
And a warehouse, a liquidator would buy it for 20 cents on the dollar, maybe $3,300 for that.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting a lot of stuff from these guys. So we have lots of closeouts, lots of stuff. Well, then COVID hit.
Right.
And that just ended.
Yeah.
And then 2 years went by and they went back to these customers and said, hey, we're ready to do this closeout. Why don't you send back that 10 grand worth of stuff that doesn't sell? And they're like, doesn't sell.
We know everything.
We don't have any.
Yep.
Everything sold.
Sure.
The amount of hardware stores that went back in business over COVID is incredible. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people don't realize there was, 20,000 hardware stores in the 50s. By 2000, I mean, independently owned, by 2000, all less than 6,000. 2021, there were less than, I think, 1,100. Because they're all getting bought up by conglomerates.
Sure, right.
And big cards. And for us, guess what? COVID hit, we had trouble getting merchandise. So we actually hooked up with a hardware distributor called Orgo Hardware. And then we're able to get a lot of product. It's a godsend for us. Because now we can get gas cans, we can get 409, we can get paint, we can get anything we want. So again, we've switched our business again. We're not that real niche-y plier wrench company anymore, because guess what? Stuff just isn't selling up anymore, right? And the problem for us in this area is, guess what? This area is gas. Everything revolves around gas and oil. Hence, that refinery. That refinery controls everything. Guys are working overtime and they're bringing people in from out of town. The restaurants are busier. The hotels are busier. The guy sure washes his dog more often. I mean, it's a down, it's a trickle effect.
Sure, right.
And since they're only using, I guess, 2/3 of that refinery over there because the sand oil didn't show up. And so we could use a lot more oil coming down here, and I think that the area would be a lot better. I think I could go back to that industrial side, but there's just no business for it because they're not working over there.
It seems like there's a process, but for whatever reason, whatever challenges come your way, you guys have found a way to tackle it and kind of evolve to the next thing. Do you have, especially being in a partnership, is there a process that you guys have to work through those problems and figure out? Okay,
well, sadly, my partner has a degenerative arthritis disease, so he had to retire 18 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, pretty much got on my own.
On your own. Right.
Yeah, running the place. But we learned a lot. We use it as a valuable tool.
Sure.
Throw some stuff off from time to time, but really it's air. There's some win column and there's a loss column.
Yeah, you try things.
And if I made money on everything I ever sold, I'd be a gazillionaire.
Right.
I mean, I lose a lot of money. I throw a lot of product away. Yeah, it's just tough. I mean, if I see something neat and new, I'll buy 12 of them. Right. I sell 4 right away. I make my 30 to 40%.
Right.
And they sell a couple over the next 6 months, and maybe I make $5-6. And then the last 4, I just have to dump, put them on the counter or declare its price, and try to move out, hopefully.
Right.
But if stuff sits around long enough, you just got to move it.
Well, I guess experience helps too. In that
and comfort. I mean, comfort. I mean, we have some comfort.
Right.
I'm not making.
You can make some mistakes. Yeah, I get it, and afford to do that.
And be willing to make them. Everybody's going to make them.
Right.
I mean, I tell my employees all the time, they get upset when they sell something below cost or they mess up. Or I say, if you're not making mistakes, you're not working hard.
Right. Yeah.
I have a problem with you. You haven't made any mistakes in the last 2 months.
Sure.
You better start working.
That's right. Right. Tell us about this picture here. This is a relatively new venture for you.
So, a few years back, everything's a few years.
Yeah.
I guess around 2005, I wanted to get a pinball machine. So I saw an auction for a place to sell pinball machines. And I went and I saw one of my customers there, and he advised me not to buy a pinball machine there. They were hard to work on. It was probably broke.
Right.
Really get a good deal. So he had me come to his house, and I bought a pinball machine for Penn. And I had played pinball as a kid.
Yeah.
I grew up and luckily in 72, 73, 74, 5-year-old, hunting for bottles, getting a nickel a bottle. And in those days, we all left our bottles outside, right? Because they would attract gnats. So if you bought a 6-pack of Coke, you finish the Coke, you leave the bottles outside, and what do you know? Some 5-year-old comes by and steals your bottles. Or ask politely for them. Yeah. So darn cute. People give them to me.
Sure, right.
Yeah, 6 bottles, 30 cents. That's 2 games of pinball. So,
right.
Of course, during my broke years of starting, we started Walco at 94. I had a lot of money up to about 2005. I finally was able to have some income. So I come on the machine, and it's like Doritos. 1 became 2, became 10, became 15, became 25, 45. I wanted more, and the only way to do it was to find a building. So I found a building in South Proxy.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Right. Sure.
Moved more gains up. Got tired of paying the electric bill and the heating bill and the property tax. So I said, well, I'll open up on the weekends, charge people $10 to come in and play my games.
All right.
And it kind of took off. There was really no place like it. There was only 3 or 4 in the country. So, we did really well. We actually got to finish off a couple more buildings that were behind it. So we expanded to 3 buildings, 3 1,000 square foot buildings. So we had 3,000 total, about 60 machines, but it was packed.
Right.
It was very packed. And then I happened to meet some other pinball enthusiasts who said I should move. And I was really not ready to close. This was just last year.
Right. Yeah.
I just had enough of watching a door. I'm a 57-year-old man. Last thing I did do was be watching a door in an arcade.
Right. Sure.
I work enough. So he said, hey, why don't I throw some money at it? Let's find another big building to move into. And we found this beautiful place in Wood River, downtown Wood River.
You did find a big building.
Yeah. It was the old Knights of Columbus Hall, right? About 10,000 square foot. City was going to give us some TIF money. So when we looked at that building, there was 2 foot of water in the basement. And I said, I don't think
this is more of a project that I want to take on.
Yeah. So we're able to move. My partner was able to put some money in. So we spent way too much on it, but it's a beautiful place. It really is. We have 125 pinball machines. We've got some of the highest, newest state-of-the-art racing games, driving games, shooting games, skee ball. We have about 4,000 video games contained in about 12 cabinets. So if you remember any old school video game, we have it.
Right.
And our clientele has changed immensely. So we used to get just pinball people, diehard pinball people.
Right.
But in the last 5 years, many of these places have opened, and they offer food and beer, and it's more of a destination for the younger folks. They can go and meet and eat and drink a little bit, play some pinball.
Right.
So when I found here as of late is that we're getting a lot of 3 generations in at one time, which is really cool. It doesn't really pay the bills, but it's really cool. Grandma and grandpa come in 65 to 70.
Right.
They bring their 32 to 35-year-old kids in, and the kids bring their 5 and 7-year-old. They pay $10 a piece. They're there for an hour. All the games are free.
Right.
And grandparents never want to pay. We're just going to watch. I say, look, nobody gets into the fun house for free. Everybody's got to pay. And I tell them, if you don't have the time in your life, when you leave, I'll give you back your $10.
Yeah.
And they leave, and they are ecstatic. I mean, where can you go, a 70-year-old and a 5-year-old, play games together, race cars together, sure, skee ball together, play a game of buck hunter, play a game like bowling, right? Play pinball machines, and older people enjoy the artwork because guess what? They remember those games.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
I used to look at old people and go, old people. Now I look at old people and I go, that's me. Because it doesn't take long. Right. So somebody who is 70 or 75 and looks older, I mean, they were guys I was waiting to play pinball with. That guy had to put my quarter on the glass, to have him get out the gate so I could play.
Yeah. Going through some of the pictures, it looks like you're kind of like number one, like you're competitive in this, right?
Yeah. So they've had the International Pinball Federation. It's been established for about 20 years. We run leagues and tournaments all over the country. It took a long time for it to get established. But in the last 5 years, with software, internet, just AI, and what have you, they've been able to come up with a great system, and there's a point system. So we play in tournaments, and depending on the amount of players that show up, the rank of the players, and the difficulty of the games, the way your playoffs are set up, each tournament can deliver a certain amount of points. So currently, I'm ranked 375th in the world. And in Illinois, I'm number 2.
Wow.
So I've just won 3 of the last 4 tournaments, 5 of the last 7. We got a few second places here on that. So my game's got a little bit better. Pinball just isn't flipping.
I was going to say, like, for the novice that just shows up like I do and,
just flip, we tried. Yeah, all live. Yeah. There are a lot of things about pinball that you can be taught. If you just listen to about 5 minutes, it'll increase your game immensely, just under 5 minutes. Or you can spend 20 years like I did to figure it out. But the pinball is basically dominated by about 20 people. There are these younger guys they were 11 and 12 20 years ago. And now they're up in their 25s and 30s. And these guys live and eat and drink pinball. And they just know every in and out of the game. They're just good players. A few of them are autistic. I mean, we just have a special group to it. I mean, you'll never beat these guys.
Right.
I mean, my total points are about 700. These guys' points are 2,500. These guys win big tournaments, and a couple of these players are making $60,000, $70,000 a year just playing pinball.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Are you still adding machines, and how does that process work? Are you still the one buying them? Or?
Yeah, actually, my partner just bought a game yesterday. We brought in a game called Ali from 1980, Muhammad Ali.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, his father was a big Muhammad Ali.
Sure.
So it's one of our Grail games we've kind of been looking for, and one came up for sale, and he got in the truck and drove all the way to Chicago. And one day picked it up, drove back. We had it set up on the floor.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean we're looking for some games. but we basically had just about everything. Right. There are a couple brands that we don't collect. So keep in mind when pinball machines were all the same up to about 1978. Mm-hmm. There were 3 pop-uppers, a couple flippers, a couple slingshots, and they made bells and dings and dongs. Then the computer board came out. Right. You had 5 manufacturers, and they all made their own computer board for their game. So it got very difficult because the computer changed. Every 6 months, the computer got better and better. Right. Some of these games were running on an electronic board that was in the Skylab satellite. And you remember where Skylab ended up? Back to Earth. Or right, sure. So, I mean, these electronics were very old and antiquated. Right. So we really try to stick from 1990s forward. Mm-hmm. And we pretty much stick with a couple brands that are Williams, Bally, and the newer games which are starting. But pinball's had a big renaissance. There are a bunch of new people into the business. It's kind of like craft beer. I used to collect beer cans as a kid. Mm-hmm. You know, and there was a lot of different beer cans. Right. Boy, if you collect,
there's a lot more now.
There's a lot more now. Yeah, I mean, I used to think getting an old Miss Frothy slush. So there are a lot of these craft pinball companies that are now making games. Churchy Jack is one. They've come out with about 9 games. Spooky Pinball, they've come out with about 5 games. And then they have guys overseas making games. But the biggest problem is with these craft guys is you never know if they're going to make it.
Right, sure.
I gave a guy $18,000 and waited for a pinball machine for 5 years. After year 3, I just knew I wouldn't get the machine. Mm-hmm. But another factory hired him to finish the game, right? And they were going to use him as a designer. So they actually came out with a game. I thought the guy was a flake, got rid of him. But I got my machine of only 18 which were made. It hardly worked at all. It was more just of a story.
Right. That's one of those losses, I guess.
Well, some guy called me and said he'd give me $25,000 for it.
Okay, so it was a win.
He said I had to be in New York the next day. I called a buddy up. I said, "Do you want to drive to New York? I'll pay you $2,000." He got it up there and we sold it.
That's awesome. Wow, that's a really cool story.
Well, and what's cool about pinball is they made a lot of prototype games.
Right.
So what's funny is it used to be like Bally and Williams, mm-hmm. and they were competing companies, and they would try to steal each other's ideas.
Right.
So Williams would actually make a game, a false game, a bowling game,
hoping that,
and they'd stick it out on their dock. Sure as, hell, someone had live bites to the game, snap a picture of it, jot it down. So Bally comes out with the game, bowling. Williams came out with the game, golf. And they're like, what the? And they got snookered. Well, guess what? They made 4 of those games, prototypes.
Right.
So they're very rare.
Right. Yeah.
So there are guys and they're collecting these prototype games. Interesting. I mean, a game that was $600 probably in some employee's basement that was worth nothing. So now we're $30,000, $40,000. I came out with a game called King Kong, and they used to make games. Like Golly made a game called Going Nuts. There'd be 13 of them. And they put them on round. They check them out, see how they are. Mm-hmm. On the game that are well.
Right.
So, well, we're not going to make that game. Well, there's 13 prototypes out there. So I bought one from a guy. He told me, "Are you keeping the arcade? It's $5,000. If you're going to sell it, it's $15,000. I said, "I'm going to keep it in the arcade." So I bought it for $5,000. Mm. And sadly, he passed away. Mm-hmm. And once you pass away, all bets are off.
Right. You can do.
And, we were growing at the time. So somebody offered me $25,000 per game. So I sold it. It allowed me to buy 5 of the newest games.
Right. Yeah.
So that was the funnest part about pinball. It's like dating. It's all about the hunt. Nothing but under the hunt. Nothing funner than to get 2 of your buddies in the truck. You're driving to Virginia. They go pick up some game you got a deal on.
Sure. Yeah.
Get there. You got it. You talk about pinball the whole way back.
Right. And then it's kind of.
Well, I mean, that's the problem now is you turn a hobby into a job, mm-hmm. and it just becomes tedious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there, you mentioned somebody a while back told you you'd be working on them all the time. Yeah. Are you working on them a lot or?
Not as much as you would think.
They're all pretty well.
Oh, I mean, all our games are not,
Yeah.
But I mean, we do have to work on them.
Sure.
Probably not as much as you would think. And guess what? After 20 years, somebody comes up and says, "Hey, the flipper's not working." Yeah, well, fix that pretty quick. I mean, I have 5 things top of my head. It's a board, it's a wire, it's a mechanical issue, it's a fuse, or it's the button.
Sure.
So I go with my tools in hand. I can fix it pretty quick.
A couple minutes left. Have there been some mentors or friends along your 30-year journey in business that have really helped you out?
Well, as I mentioned to you earlier, I bought all these advisory tab boards.
Right.
We meet once a month. 5 or 6 different business owners, and we powwow about our business problems, whether it's hiring or firing. So, quickest one, best one is kind of learn to hire. I mean, most people, most people hire too quickly and fire too slowly.
Yeah, as you should do. My old Sam Salmon on the station before I bought it always said, And the advice we got from within our industry was always hire slow, fire fast. That was,
maybe you have a problem, it. Use your instincts the best. And then we talked earlier about, the Good to Great book, It took me a while to learn, but do what you're good at and nothing else.
Right.
Don't try to be something you're not. Let the other people do it.
That's such a hard lesson, I think, for just business owners, entrepreneurs. We're mostly kind of wired to like to chase shiny objects. And here's something cool. What if we did that? And you're right. It's usually if you just paid attention to the fundamentals a little bit more and did what you're good at, you'd have more success.
I think that debt portion was, would take me a long time to realize. I think I could have grown a lot more, a lot earlier. It might just would have been so adverse to debt.
Right.
Nothing wrong with debt.
Yeah.
Especially if you can make money on it.
Sure.
Especially today, you have to do it because it is a today economy. Even if you're running a hamburger shop, you're running hamburgers, you're done for the day.
Yeah.
You run out of rent sets, you're done for the day.
Right.
You have to have a very loyal customer.
So you're 57. What's the next 5 to 10 years look like for you, do you think?
Well, I'd actually told my employees I wanted to retire at 60, which is going to put me in 3 years.
Right.
And I was going to give them the company. Just have to pay me a little bit.
Right.
And nobody wanted to do it. They didn't want the hardest working employee to leave. So,
right. They see that. They're like, no, why would we want to do that?
Why would we want to leave? I'm living on East Street.
Right.
I'm not saying they don't have the aptitude or the ability to do it. It's
sure.
I think two of them pulled me aside. So I don't want to be an owner. I'm happy being, what I am.
Right.
And not everybody's an owner.
No, that's for sure.
I mean, it definitely takes a different breed. And it's a risk taking.
It absolutely is.
Yeah. I do take risk. So, I'm just going to stick at it. I had some ideas. I wanted to travel and do some stuff. And
right.
Every time I go on vacation, I want to come home. There's no.
I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy myself when I'm in the islands, or I enjoy myself when I'm someplace else. But there is no place like home. So I like being home, and I enjoy going to the pinball place when there's nobody there, and I can work on a few things. I mean, I still like the hunt.
Yeah. Right. Still like finding games.
Yeah, and I like it. I like being able to solve problems for people. But I'm a borderline idiot. I could fix nothing. I mean, I've been a bookkeeper at Walco Tool. At Ward's Tool, I was a bookkeeper and a retail guy. Where I just rearranged shelves. When I started this business, my partner was the smarts, and I was the book guy. So I've never been really mechanically inept, electronically inept, and my partner, he freaks out that I run an arcade with over 200 games, and I can fix it myself.
Right.
I don't know anything. I just paid enough people to do it.
And watched it.
And watch.
Yeah, right.
You pay somebody $200 to come out and change a fuse. You go, you know what? I think I'll learn how to change a fuse.
Doesn't look that hard.
It doesn't look that hard. And then you can apply this in any business.
Right, yeah.
Nothing's too hard to learn.
That's true.
And there's a guy talks on the radio about it. If you spend 18 minutes a day on something and you do it for 2 years, you'll be better than 90. Yeah, you'd be better than 95% of the people in the world doing it.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I think that's a good spot to end right there. Unless there's anything you want to add to the show, we really appreciate you coming on. And just congratulations on 30 years of around a successful business, a local business that's been a fixture in the area. Congratulations.
Appreciate all you do for the community. Thank you.
Thanks, Chuck.
All right. Good.